Has it been paused this whole time?
I'm not sure.
That's not good. All right. Anybody else have any questions? Virtual? No? Okay. The next thing I wanted to go over, and I had a printout for here with everybody, is VIBs. Okay. So I'm going to share a screen with you guys so you guys can see it. Okay. Can you guys all see that there? All right. So some people have heard of VIBs, right? I can guarantee that not everybody is using it. I can guarantee it, right? You might have said it 1 or 2 times, right? But you're not using it every single sale. You're not, right? If you're going to implement one thing from today's training, it's VIBs, 100%, right? VIBs is a way to collect insurance referrals at the end of the presentation, right? So when you're sitting down with Mary and Joe, you just gave them a great presentation, right? This should also be solidification for you giving a good presentation. If you gave a great presentation and you really helped that family out, they're going to refer people to see you, right? So on the sheet itself, I mean, the way it starts, you would basically do this right after you basically click next, signed everything, right? Have everything signed in there. Right when it brings up the thing, the little thing on eApp that says, you're able to refer other people into the program too, and you have to click continue. That's when you should end with VIBs. Right there, it tells you, hey, do you know anybody else that needs these benefits, right? And you click continue and it pops up the referral thing, right? So that's the perfect time for you guys to say VIBs to them, right? So VIBs is an acronym, VIBS, right? The V in VIBS stands for value, right? So typically the way you want to start this is, Mary and Joe, I know that we went over a lot of good information today, and I know we were able to help your family, get a plan set up for them, all right? But let me ask you, what value did you see in the program today? What value did you see in sitting down with me today? Wait for them to respond. Don't give them suggestions here. Ask them, hey, how did I do for you today? Right? What was the most important part of the program today? What did you find most beneficial? Have them rate you. On a scale of 1 to 10, Mary and Joe, what would you give me? You would say a 9. Great 9. I love hearing 9 because I can always improve on something, right? But what value did you find in working with me? They'll probably say you explained the benefits great, and the way that you were able to kind of fit a plan into our family's budget here, I really appreciated that. Okay, great. Right? I hear that. Being able to fit a budget into most people's, a plan into most people's budget is why our company exists, right? On that sheet there, it says use active listening. I'm going to go over that here in a second too. It's what I'm going to wrap up with. But the next thing you want to do is you want to ask them an important question. So Mary and Joe, with all that in mind, with all the good stuff you just said about me in mind, right? I just have a very important question I would like to ask you. And just wait for them to be like, okay, what's up? It might be awkward for 5 seconds, but they'll be like, go ahead, right? Once they give you the go ahead, ask them the question. Now Joe and Mary, right? Keep in mind, we did go over a lot of very important benefits, but I wanted a question to ask you. Can we brainstorm together about people that might benefit from the same program you're involved in? So with your permission, Mary and Joe, I would like to brainstorm with you about maybe, some people who that could benefit from this, right? You could throw the catch-up program in right here. Who do you know at work that you work with that filled out their card but hasn't got their benefits yet? We can get them to the top of the list. They don't have to wait, right? That's brainstorm, and then S is suggestions. So VIBS. S stands for suggestions. You got to suggest people. They're not just going to give you people. They might have 1 or 2 that they want you to go see, but at the end of the day, you got to suggest people. You got to move them forward in the process. If that makes sense, all right? And you can see on the screen, there's a couple of very good ones to ask them. You know, who do you think would need life insurance? Who just got married? Who just had kids? I don't know about the divorce one, but but who who do
That's
you know
actually
maybe
a
just
good
lost their
one. When people
who
get
just lost their
divorced,
job
they're
or
forced
retired?
to have it.
Yeah, you're right, but divorce leads to money issues too. So one big thing. But guys, I want you to like implement these VIBs. Like, please, just try it. Do it this week and see what your results are. Try it this month and see where you guys end up at.
Maybe I'm overthinking it, but I feel like doesn't that like almost take away from the exclusivity of it? Like we're saying that you could only be in the beginning. You're like you have to be in a union. You know, it's only with unions. And then towards the end, we're like, yeah, who do you know that can get this?
If you just read the last part, yeah. But if they found value in sitting down with you as a person, then no, because you're offering your personal services. This is your business, right? What hours are you going to open your business at? Are you going to exclude people from your business? You're not a union member, you can't come in. Do you know what I mean? I mean, yeah, I get the unexclusivity part, but at this point, they're able to refer the people into their benefits. You've told them that before, you know? Just like with the child safety kits, you're allowed to refer people into the union-backed life insurance benefits too, you know? So I wouldn't overthink it. Just use it. But I don't want you guys to just run right into VIBs in the presentation. You need to practice this first. Say it in a mirror a bunch of times. Say it to your friends, role play this. Like, don't just head right into the presentation and be like, hey, Mary and Joe, you know, I know you saw some very important, you know, we went over a lot of very important information today, you know, and you probably saw some benefit. You're going to mess it up. Do you know what I mean? You got to say it a bunch of times, right? But having this down, as I swear to you guys, this is going to boost your production just because you're going to see more people. That's the name of the game, sitting down in front of enough people, right? But does anybody have questions on VIBs at all? No? Okay. We're pretty good on time. We'll stop sharing this here. Okay. Last thing, basically, I wanted to go over with you guys, and I have more too, but I wanted to go over active listening. Okay. So you guys know what active listening is? Right? This is something that is so big in the whole presentation. Like, you need to be using this the whole presentation, because these people don't really care about how much you know until they know how much you care. Like, they don't care. You're just a normal person. You're just a person on the screen to them. Until you understand about their family and you understand what their needs are and you have a plan to help them, they don't care, right? But what you can do is you can ask better questions to get that information. Active listening helps with that, right? So there's basically I want you guys to write down, there's 5 points for active listening, okay? The first thing you want to go over when you're doing active listening is neutral and non-judgmental questions, right? So Mary and Joe, you said you had coverage through State Farm. Okay, great that you got covered through State Farm, right? You don't want to be negative about it. Oh, that coverage from State Farm you got's terrible. It's not good, right? You guys want to make in neutral and non-judgmental comes a lot with the rapport building up front, right? They're very neutral questions. How long you been in the place you're in? What do you do for work? How long you been there, right? Those are very neutral questions. But the answers we get from them, they're good answers for us. We need those answers, you know? You got a question, Jay? You just fixed me. Okay. The next point is you need to be patient in the process. So when you're doing active listening, what that means is you can't give them quick responses every time. Think about it. Pause a little bit, right? Some dramatic little pauses. Think a little bit about what they're saying, all right? Not every conversation you're going to have with someone needs to be very quick, right? Slow down a little bit. Talk to them. Once they see you're slowed down and you're taking your time with them, they're going to be more in tune with giving you more information. But if you're trying to fly through everything and be very quick about it, I get it. You're a business person, right? You're about your business. But at the end of the day, you need to help this family. And like I said, they don't care if you're, the best life insurance salesman in the world. You're just somebody on the screen to them right now, until you build that trust with them. The next point is verbal and nonverbal cues. Shaking your head, yes. Telling them yes. Right? You guys are all good at that. You guys all do good tie downs. Right? That's kind of where that comes into play at tie downs. All right. That makes sense to you, right, Joe? Right. So nonverbal and verbal cues. Visibly nodding your head on the screen, saying, yes, Joe, that's correct. Right? Letting them know that you're listening to them. Okay. And then the other, that was 3, right? Yeah, it was 3. 4 is asking questions based off of something they just said. Right? So this works more in rapport and during the pie chart than any other place. Right? So a good example of it is when you're building rapport with somebody and they're like, hey, Joe, how long you worked with the SEIU? I've been with the SEIU now for 5 years. So Joe, you said you've been with the SEIU for 5 years now? Oh man, you must know a lot of people there, right? It's like, yeah, I got a few friends that I work closely with. Okay, guys you work closely with, did they fill out their cards too? Right? I'm just using the last thing that he said in the first thing in my sentence. Right? So it shows him that I'm listening to what he's saying. Right? That's huge. Having them realize that you're listening to them that's why our company exists, guys. Do you know that? We have live field agents. Not many companies do that. Not many companies have live people that go out to them and listen to their members' needs. It doesn't happen everywhere. That's what our members like. That's why our members pay for our policies, because they have a live field agent. They have somebody with them teaching them and showing them these things. Right? So use that to your advantage. Be a live human being with them. Interact with them. You know what I mean? Don't be a robot and just click buttons. You can do that. That's what the program is designed to do. It's designed to just sell 1 out of 3 just by clicking buttons. But you guys are all been hired here because you have great personalities. Use that stuff. You know what I mean? And then the last thing for active listening is asking for clarification or summarizing what you just went over. Right? So this once again works with the pie chart. Right? That makes sense to you why it would recommend $300,000 for coverage for you, Joe, right? Right? You could see what it recommends, Joe, is to have all these needs covered. Summarizing what you went over with them. Okay? All right. And the last thing about active listening is people typically don't remember what you say. They don't. People remember how you make them feel. All right. So if you make them feel good about life insurance, typically gonna buy life insurance. All right. That's why you meet some people who've had a bad taste in their mouth because someone made them feel a certain way about it. It's your job to make them feel a good way about it. But at the end of the day, you can't control how they feel. You can just control how you're pushed out in front of them, right? What you expect, you can control. Can't control how they feel about that. But if you put the best version of yourself out there, right, people are going to see that. They're going to enjoy that. That's why they're logging on. And that goes on to kind of I don't want to say show ratio issues or anything like that, but I want to say you guys need to differentiate yourself from everybody else. Why is this member want to sit down with you? Why are they going to show up on Zoom for you? Why are they going to click that join meeting button? What's special about you, Matt Brown, that they're going to sit down and be like, I'm meeting with Matt Brown today. I can't wait. Can't wait till this guy pops on screen. I can't wait for him. What's getting them to say that? Questions sell. You're right. Questions sell 100%. So with what we're doing virtually, guys, you're competing with the big screen TV. You're competing with Comcast. You're competing with Dish Network. You're competing with Netflix, Hulu. You're competing with all of those services because you're on the screen now. So you got to treat your presentation as such. Make sure your lighting's good. Make sure you look good on the screen, right? Be professional. All that stuff goes into the customer experience, right? If we can't be in the home with them, we got to give them the best virtual experience we can. Make the sound better, right? Have the lighting good. The camera looks good, right? Make sure your backdrop looks good, right? But at the end of the day, you guys got to figure out what's going to set you guys apart from every other agent. Why do they want to sit down with you? You know, maybe it's your knowledge base is better. You know, for some people that have been here for years, I know why people want to sit down with me, because I know more than they do. You'll get there, right? Maybe it's your personality now. Maybe you make them laugh, right? That's a good thing. You should always make your members laugh in the first 5 minutes, all right? Or maybe it's just your likability. People like you. Or maybe it's your professionalism. Like there's a bunch of different things and a bunch of different ways to build control and build confidence in that person. Like if they have confidence in you, they're going to just kind of do what you say. You're going to guide them through the process. They're looking for a guide, right? So, but what about you is unique? Figure that out and use it, all right? Last thing, guys, and then I'll open up for a couple questions here. I was on Saturday, I was just kind of listening to some motivation. You know, I was kind of walking my dog, listening to a motivational video, and I heard a guy talk about the common denominator of success. And I was like, seems kind of interesting. I want to look into this, right? So I got done walking my dog. I ended up like researching the common denominator of success. It's like a pamphlet. It's maybe like this thick, like this big in a little book, right? A guy named E.N. Gray wrote it, Albert E.N. Gray. So it basically boils down to the main common denominator of success is successful people made it a habit of doing things that unsuccessful people aren't willing to do. Successful people made it a habit of doing the things that unsuccessful people are not willing to do. All right? Notice how I said habit. Right? Your habits define you as a person. Your habits will define your paycheck. Habits are not things that you develop over one day or 1 week. Habits are things you develop over months of time. Just remember that, guys. You're not the finished product of yourself yet. You can't judge yourself as the finished product yet. Just know you're all going through the process. All right? Love the process. That's the other thing I wrote down. Love the result more than the pain that you have to go through to achieve it. You got to love the result. Because at the end of the day, you're going to have days where you're on top of the world. I just sold 5 policies, made $3,000 today. You're going to have days where you're going to want to jump off a bridge. Someone in your family just died, you crashed your car, all kind of crazy things happen, right? But at the end of the day, what I want you guys to really, really like keep in your mind, especially this week and especially this month, pushing through things, you're going to run into adversity. Something's going to happen to you this month when you're going to be like, damn, how am I going to get through this, right? My first piece of advice in that is find somebody in this office that went through that. Ask them about it. Chances are somebody did go through that already, right? Chances are it's probably one of your leaders, right? So when you're going through these adversities and these tough times, just know that it's not going to last. You're going to get through it. You're going to push through it, right? The only way to get through it, though, like Tommy said many times, the only way to get through a storm is to push through it. If you stay and you wallow in that storm, you're going to be in there forever, all right? But that's really all I got for you guys, you know? One more quote from the book, or this little pamphlet. I love this pamphlet. You guys should read it. It's great. It motivated me. He ends up going to say like what does feeling have to do with anything? You know what I mean? Like, what does feeling really have to do with it? Successful people don't feel feeling. They get up and they do certain things because it's their routine, their habit to do that. If you develop habits, feelings aren't an issue. Does that make sense? Like, if your habits are good, any kind of feeling you have, it's not going to matter because you already have that habit in place. It's not going to matter if it's a good day or bad day. You're going to do that every single day, no matter what. All right. So develop good habits of getting up early, filling your mind with good things. All right. The strongest thing in the human mind is a positive thought. A positive thought is 100 times stronger than a negative thought. Right. And at the end of the day, guys, thoughts become things. So if you think about it enough, you write it down enough, eventually it's going to come to fruition. So, I mean, and that's all I really have for you guys today. I wanted to go over some referrals, how to collect those. I wanted to go over VIBs with you guys. I also wanted to give you a little bit of, motivation and kind of stuff to think about here in the next week or so. But does anybody here have any questions for me? Yes.
For tie downs, like I know obviously you want to get many yeses.
Yes.
Right.
Correct.
So you have to, say the tie downs in the right way to get a yes. But do you ever ask? Like sometimes I find myself asking, like, okay, any questions on this kind of part or anything like that?
Yeah, that's cool.
And they say no, and I'm like,
Does that make sense?
well, yeah, and I always ask, that makes sense a lot, but I just want to eliminate any no's, like just ask it in a way.
It's not the worst thing because you're asking them, saying, hey, do you have any questions on how all this works at all? And they're like, no, that means you did a good job. You're just verifying that you did a good job.
And then when we get to the medical questions, it's like, all you want to hear is no's. You know what I mean?
The tie downs are more important when you're going over like the list of concerns and you're going over the needs analysis and building that up. More or less, that's more where the yeses are important at. And the one good one that I always use is that makes sense to you guys, right? Or you can see why they set it up that way, right? You can see why they have this no cost benefit set up for you guys, right? So the answer to your question, the short answer is it's not always bad to get no's. I mean, at the end of the presentation, you want to hear yes, but the way you're getting a no is just verifying that you did a good job. So I wouldn't worry about those too much, Steve. All right. Anybody else got questions here? No? Anybody got questions virtual? No? All right. Good. Well, let's kill it today, guys. It's the first day of March Madness. Let's go. Everyone get excited. Hopefully everyone has good appointments. Collect referrals. Please collect referrals, guys. Make your job easy.
Thanks, Drew.
Thanks, Drew. Thanks, Drew.